Hello, I hope all is progressing well. Welcome to I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It, where we discuss myriads of topics civilly, reasonably, and responsibly. My name is Kevin Dufresne. Our first topic is about opting in and opting out of class. Now, the reasoning is due to what an administration may allow for, then decide against. So if an educational environment allows for an opting in or opting out, then the option remaining available is good. Though to change the option after marketing the option may seem very challenging for one subscribing to an educational environment to appreciate. So, considering the dynamics of the context, one may assess the situation in myriad ways, of which I will approach. One, are the lessons developmentally sound? Not to impede on an individual's educational progress or an individual's life personally, though considering how certain parameters of the discussion pertain to what research and development is attempting to navigate with what is developmentally sound for one's growth. Now, considering what education is to do in preparing individuals for the realms outside of education, though in connection with education, indirectly, one may argue the core lessons need to focus on what is core of the topics, addressing how culture may be differentiating at an earlier stage may prove extremely valuable. So when individuals enter into understanding particular cultures, then in navigating the parameters may be of different discernment. Now, addressing what connections rest with religion, with school, may always be a part of a national conversation, especially due to America being a country of freedom of religion, where individuals may consider a separation of church and state, though varyingly per state. The reality of learning is addressing how to implement the context in a way that is educational, in a way that allows for one to navigate the core of what is at hand, more so than to navigate a particular culture only at hand. So, as one appreciates culture, one may understand how to appreciate culture, which is what I think rests with the core of understanding. and discernment, which education may address so as to ensure individuals are of sound, helpful progressions with the interdependent reality. Now, what happens in a home happens in a home. What one may be engaging with in an educational environment may differ in a home environment, may differ in an in-between environment. And there are many in-between environments. So I'm always of the mindset to balance reality with expectations as well as intention, considering what parents might designate as religious upbringing may be actually harmful. Though, what an educational environment may be allowing may ill affect an individual. Similarly, may be of the good as well, depending on how individuals are engaging with the educational process, whether at home, in between, or in an educational environment, like a school. So, understandably, being able to assess a curriculum may prove extremely valuable when the curriculum is going through professionals that understand how to apply what is developmentally appropriate. Now, one may argue of context of the Bible here. There are different variations of the Bible. With understanding the variations exist, the teachings will vary depending on the person teaching. So, one may understand a child engaging with the Bible is engaging with various contexts, which may prove extremely mature, especially considering, as far as anyone knows, when the Bible is of creation, there is no television, there is no form of transmission that is apparent in forms of media in modernity, as far as everyone seems to know. At least that's what seems most popular to address. So, considering the topics in the Bible are extremely mature, though individuals may bring the biblical context within the family, may seem contradicting, if one will. Though the context may prove different in many instances, there are a lot of situations biblically that one may find different to understand, though comparatively similar to what is happening with context of the text in the school of which the article is mentioned. Which brings about the rounding discussion of what one subscribes to for school. What is a school? Which one needs to be aware of prior to engaging within whatever the school is offering. So, I think allowing for an opt-in, opt-out option may be sound, proceeding with what already is of promise, of expectations from word Though I think approaching such context in an educational environment, if an educational environment is going to approach these contexts, requires professionals that undergo a lot of research and development parameters to ensure developmentally appropriate curricula for particular topics around health, and I think acknowledging balance is present with teaching the core of cultural context, which will vary per grade, per age, per curricula, if one will, are important. So individuals are able to balance mindfully so as not to feel a sense of overwhelming when one grows and engages different contexts. And these types of conversations are wonderful for home environments when through these processes. So one is able to engage with a culture that may be different. So one may be able to say, well, this is Christianity and this is Islam and this is Hinduism, because the intricacies of the discussion are very present when one is more aware, though one is not entirely always abreast of what individually, personally, people may be responding from, or culture may be responding from, especially when everyone in a culture, everyone of a religious background are not always in agreement, even of the same context. Our next topic is about individuals with different abilities in connection with higher education, which I'm always going to be supportive of education. I understand expenses may be high. So consider the balances of being in an environment of learning. If one is of an environment of learning, well, then one sets oneself up for good success. Not just self-learning, though learning with another, learning with others. Education allows for the opportunity for peers to engage with learning parameters well. Now, we're discussing about higher education, college, university. As individuals mature, these realms allow for different progression of growth that may be of wonderful opportunity to cultivate, to learn of culturing, to apply, to further research, to further experience different cultures through learning. Even more so, individuals engaging with research and development may really find good growth with peer-to-peer conversations, as well as peer-to facilitator, if one will, conversations. These types of environments are very unique. These types of environments are very special because of the opportunities present in such environments. These environments are always going to bring about a good foundation for individuals to work from, even if one may consider a particular environment of which I'm discussing to not be one that one agrees with. What is possible within these environments is what one needs to grasp. One way to consider what is happening and what I'm saying is an environment of which one is able to live, experience different extracurricular activities while on a learning path, the opportunity to meet individuals internationally to varying capacities that do not revolve around any form of environmental similarities that may be in a work environment, though more so of an exploratory environment, though work needs to happen. Such environments are so wonderful. Now, addressing how individuals with different abilities are able to access these is important because individuals with different abilities are now in a situation of which facilitating is of incorporation, where the services are available, especially considering services available beyond a line in a syllabus noting to contact an individual if one needs different assistance. The support is growing. Financially, higher education may prove to be way better. How? Addressing what is possible through loan systems is extremely important. Of course, loan systems operate through parameters of debt, which is another conversation of which one may really have to navigate how an entity is operating with debt systems, and of course understanding how debt systems work in the US may prove extremely valuable for one to better approach how one is going to engage long term financially. Also, so one is not going to set oneself in a debt emotional rut, which I think is important to acknowledge, because as an individual that does not have an emotional attachment to what is materialistic, I do consider how individuals may feel when loan entities are seeking what may be challenging for individuals to give, for individuals to even earn, because of circumstances perhaps out of individuals' control. So individuals with different abilities have opportunities now to garner more control in life personally, beyond the control that might seem aware or present in their current environments. Now the reality is expanding to show that individuals with different abilities have different levels of access, have different levels of control, though in a more apparent, broader sense that is of integrative systems more so than systems that are external to these credentialing systems, if one will, external to these other integrative systems that seem very central to what is of good popular routing for human growth, if one will, considering how education may be and how education is to prove to be. So, how might addressing these situations be with the mystery of the funding possibility? Of course, if any entity is in need of funding, I believe the educational environment needs to be able to address partnering entities to know what is happening within the infrastructure and how critical the growth is for future progressions of a country, of a nation, of a life. The biggest part of higher education, which I think really needs a lot more addressing, is really how partnerships form with higher education. Industry will have support depending on the entity, the company, the business, will have support that is able to grow internally to arguably do what education allows for. Though how so happens may be extremely different through academic parameters, which are, of course, industry viable intentionally. So the relations need to really be present and apparent and active in determining critical growth areas. All right. We're going to do some origami. For this origami, you can have a square sheet. And what we're going to do is we're just going to fold this square sheet in half. And then we're going to fold it again. So we're going to fold it in half, and we're going to fold it in half again. All right. Next, you're going to take your fold and you're going to fold it in half again. Though not in the sense of the prior folds, though in the opposing folds. Okay. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to open this up and we're going to actually address the instructions. So when one is attempting to see how to do what the origami is, one may simply go to the origami link in the description in the summary. So as I lean over here, I'm going to engage with the next step, which is taking that fold from that fold and basically opening from this fold here and bringing it in half completely to this fold, which is the half fold, and then folding it in half. Next, I'm just going to reopen this and I'm going to fold it now toward the center. Okay. This folding toward the center happens. Then the next folding that needs to happen is of a flattening. So this flattening is going to open up this origami here. take it and we'll just flatten it, and you'll see it's like this. So all I do is just take this portion, this wing, this flap, and then just fold it down. Next, we're going to take the front portion and we're going to fold it up. That's so. And then we're just going to turn this over. We're going to fold the back in along the line. Just fold it along the line. Fold it back in. Okay. And then we're going to take the back part here. We're going to fold this in here. Fold this in here. And we're just going to fold the back up here. So. And from here, we can just open this up from the back, and then we have our origami nurse hat. And you can draw a nurse's symbol here. The instructions will have a cutout, but if you have a marker, that's fine, a pencil, and put it where you want. I'll put it in the corner in the back, but also I can put it in the front. It's your origami, the Japanese art of folding paper. So design it how you will. I really like this nurse's hat. Oh. All right, our next topic is about reading a physical book. Engaging with reading is so important. When one reads a physical book, one's brain physically changes. Long-term health benefits from reading a physical book. So, the book today is Rights to Sex, which really engages with feminist parameters, noting historically what is feminism, enlightening what feminism may become. And I really find the book to be enlightening for individuals that are just not aware of what feminism may be or from where feminism comes from. And after reading the text, I note not all feminists are the same. So one really must engage with what an individual is offering ideologically or how one is seeking to live, because there are many different forms of feminism, which means there are many different types of feminists, which means there are individuals that may subscribe to different ideas of feminism that are not all in the same camp of ideological progression. So one may have to do what is in one's power to control one's life and determine what one believes beyond any label, which is what is important about growing and living in life as an individual and respecting the interdependent growth as well. So what one may set label-wise as feminism may need more detailing to ensure what one is saying is in alignment with what one really is attempting to believe, especially if one is unaware of exactly what feminism is. And there are many individuals that may define feminism differently, operating by definition, which again may be subscribing to one ideological progression of feminism. So I really think the text is sound for individuals that do want to become more aware of what's going on with women ideologically in connection with feminism. Even considering the different types of movements that are of experiences which assist women economically, legally, to ensure the respect of civil rights is apparent, the respect of women's rights is apparent, even though these are of modernity. There's much else to understand as these ideological progressions continue to develop and change. Not only in a broad scale, though individually, personally. Thank you for joining. I don't know. We can talk about it. Onward and Upward, Kevin Dufresne.